Good morning, Hare Krishna. The men have fled.
I know, I was thinking.
Thankfully, Gopinath is here. Huh? Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Gopijana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Vishwanath Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Sudra Sadasya Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Antakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki, Prem Sikha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vedikadada Shivasi Gaur Bhakti Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhani ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Yay. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Reading from the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 87, text 87, entitled The Prayers of the Personified Vedas, text 35, is on the board. And yes, I want to seek the blessings of the senior devotees here. Thank you. So that I may speak something of worth. And so I'm just trying to think of the meter. How does the first one of the first verses of Bhagavatam? Janma yasya kanvaya. I think that works actually. Bhuvi puru punyatirtha sadhana anye rishayo vimadas. Bhuru punya tirtha sadanana rishayo vimadas Bhuvi puru punya tirtha sadana Anyarshayo vimadas.
Bhuvi Guru Punya Tirtha Sadhana Nirishayo Vimada. It's a bit like
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the next line. Ta uta bhavat padambujorido. Maybe you lead it.
Bhuvi pura punyatita sadanya rishayo vimada.
Bhuvi puro punyatirtha sadananya rishayo vimadas.
Tavuta bhavat padambujorido gabit angri jalaha.
Tauta bhavat padambujorido gabit angrijala.
Dadati sakrin manashtvaya atmani nitya sukhe.
Dadhati sakrin manastvaya atmani nitya sukhe.
Napunarupasate purusha sarahara vasatam.
Na punarupasate purusha sarahara vasatam. Okay, I'll try. Bhuvi pura punya tirtha sadananya rishayo vimadas.
Bhuvi pura punya tirtha sadanya rishayo vimadas.
Ta uta bhavat padambujoridoga bid angrijala.
Tavuta bhavat padambujoridoga bid angrijala.
Dadhati sakrin manastvayam atmani nitya sukhe.
Dadati sakrin manastvaya atmani nitya sukhe.
Na punarupasate purusha sarahara vasatham.
Napunarupasate purusha sarahara vasatam.
Yes.
Bhuvi Puru Punya Tirtha Sadananya Rishayo Vimadas.
Bhuvi pura punyatirtha sadananya rishayo vimadas.
Sa Uta Bhavat Padambuja Hitoga Bit Angrijala.
Tauta bhavat padambujoridoga bid angrijala.
Dadati Sakrin Manastvaya Atmani Nitya Sukhe.
Dadhati sakrin manastvaya atmani nitya sukhe.
Napuna Upasite Purusha Sara Haravasatan.
Na punarupasate purusha sarahara vasatam. Bhuvi puru punyatirtha sadananya rishayo vimadas. Tauta bhavat padambujoridoga bid angrijala. Dadhati sakrin manastvaya atmani nitya sukhe. Na punarupasate purusha sarahara vasatam. Anyone else? Bhuvi, on the earth, Puru, greatly, Punya, pious, Tirtha, places of pilgrimage, Sadanani, and personal abodes of the Supreme Lord, Rishayaha, sages, Vimadaha, free from false pride, Te, they, Uta, indeed, Bhava, your, Pada, what is Pada? Feet. Yes. Ambuja,
Ambuja,
lotus.
lotus,
Hridaha,
Vidaha,
in whose hearts.
in whose heart,
Agha,
Akha,
sins.
sins,
Bhet,
Vivek,
which destroys.
destroys,
Angri,
Angri,
having bathed whose feet.
and made whose feet,
Jalaha,
Jalaha,
the water.
the water,
Dadhati,
Dadati,
turn.
turn,
Sakrit,
Sakrit,
even once.
even once,
Manaha,
Manaha,
their minds.
their mind,
Tvai,
Vai,
towards you.
towards you,
Ye,
Ye,
who.
who,
Atmani,
Atmani,
towards the Supreme Soul.
towards the Supreme Soul,
Nitya,
Nitya,
always.
always,
Sukhe,
Sukhe,
who is happy.
who is happy,
Napunaha,
Namaha,
never again.
never again,
Upasate,
Upasate,
they worship.
they worship,
Purusha,
Purusha,
of a man. Sara,
Sara,
the essential qualities.
essential qualities,
Hara,
Hara,
which steal away.
which steal away,
Avasatha,
Avasata,
their mundane homes.
their mundane homes.
Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sages, free from false pride, live on this earth by frequenting the sacred pilgrimage sites and those places where the Supreme Lord displayed His pastimes. Because such devotees keep your lotus feet within their hearts, the water that washes their feet destroys all sins. Anyone who even once turns his mind toward you, the ever blissful soul of all existence, no longer dedicates himself to serving family life at home, which simply robs a man of his good qualities. Yeah, I'll read the translation at the end of the purport again. So we have not super lengthy, but still 1.5 pages purport. So yes, as we've been saying in the past, let's try to keep track of, pay attention, I suppose. So the purport, the qualification of an aspiring sage is that he has learned about the absolute truth from standard authorities and developed a sober mood of renunciation. To develop his capacity for discriminating the important from the unimportant, such a person often wanders from one holy site to another, taking advantage of the association of great souls who frequent or reside in these places. I'm thinking maybe I should just speak and then I will, because the purport is otherwise it's very loaded with nice points. So Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Shri Guru Dinita Vanchaka Patrubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yes, so again, Gopinath and Dinada weren't in the room when I was seeking blessings. Please bless me. And again, so I can say something of worth. Yes, this is an interesting verse. Quite some poetic statement in the verse here. The sages, because they keep your lotus feet within their hearts, the water that washes their feet destroys all sins. I think we hear about Krishna asking Mother Ganges to go to earth, and she's reluctant. She's like, oh, people just misuse me. And but then Krishna refers to this point essentially, to say there's no need to worry because there will be these persons that will be purifying that place, these saintly persons, sages free from false pride, live on this earth, and they frequent, by frequenting the sacred pilgrimage sites and those places where the Supreme Lord displayed his pastimes. And then we also have the point about when you visit holy places simply to bathe and not frequent, not associate with those saintly persons, then you're missing the point. And then, so as we heard from Mangala Chandrika Mataji and probably others as well, these are different personalities, the Vedas personified. Seemed like each personality had a different type of relationship also and different mood, and so this is a very loving expression of this particular Shruti or Veda, and he's saying even anyone who even once turns his mind towards you, the ever blissful soul of all existence, no longer dedicates himself to serving family life at home, which simply robs a man of his good qualities. That's I would say, quite a beautiful but also intense statement. That we would be robbed of our good qualities or by serving family life, dedicating himself there. The Sanskrit here is Sara, so Purusha Sarahara, which is Sarahara, the essential qualities. The Sara is the cream, let's say. And so that's being stolen away by, here it's mentioned in the word for word, upasate, so the worshipping of, I thought it was interesting that it's the worshipping of material enjoyment, which is qualified here as family life. So the purport begins, so what is the qualification of an aspiring sage? So the opposite of that, who's not anymore worshipping this material happiness, and therefore, isn't robbed of his good qualities. So what are those qualifications of this sage? So he has heard the absolute truth from standard authorities and developed a sober mood of renunciation. To develop his capacity for discriminating the important from the unimportant. Such a person often wanders from one holy site to another, taking advantage of the association of great souls who frequent or reside in these places. So, they are attracted to that type of association. And I thought it was interesting sentence, to develop their capacity to discriminate between important from unimportant. Such persons often wander from one holy site to another. And I think it's they seem like such saintly persons just going on pilgrimage seem like kind of rejected of society, but it's an exercise of understanding what is important and what's not. I think like this Bhagavatam class, when I come for it, and I feel like it's rewarding the for the rest of the day or less of life or time, when in pursuit of wealth, position, power, fame, then you come here and let's say you fail in that. It's like, oh, you're encouraged. you've done well. We know about this verse. I forget it now, but yes, how the translation essentially is that if Krishna cares for you, then if he has special attention for you, then he takes away. And it's a place, Bhagavatam class is a place to be reminded of what is important and what's not important, what's real. It seems like in this world, the things that are very real, think about like sex, for example, is very real. It's what you could say, makes the world turn around. Prabhupada, when Brahmananda Prabhu mentioned that his professor's conclusion, then Prabhupada said, yes, that's the right conclusion. So it's a very real power, but it's kind of the culminative power of this world, but that's taken very seriously or pursued a lot, but really it's unimportant in that sense and unreal. So the things that are very real are, and then here we have deities, we bring guests, or even my son, he was like, one day he was like, they're fake. I was like, okay. This is the most real, is the point I'm trying to say. The things that seem like not so tangible, offering worship, praying, praying is another one. What is this praying? But that's very real, and we see here it's a question of meditation. In this verse we also have the word sakrit, and then there's this verse, I don't have it here now. This is it. Tvai me nanya vishaya matir madhu matpate sakrit. Ratim udvahata adha gange vaugham udanvati. And the word for it is asakrit. So basically the point here is, O Lord Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. I think that's also underrated a little bit, our meditation and our focus on our praying, and here the finger is being pointed on to that, that if your meditation is material enjoyment, then you're doing yourself a big disfavor. You're being robbed of the essence of the essential qualities, and so yes, in this case, the verse here is pointing about just even once turning his mind towards you. And he's glorifying this particular Veda personality, is glorifying Krishna for his magnanimousness. That we're all interesting people here. We're all people here that have turned our mind once towards Krishna, and we have I think Dhammakana would say about one foot in the spiritual world, one foot in the material world, and there's different degrees of that, right? You could be tipping your toe you turned towards Krishna for some time, but your main anchoring point, or I think in French the word is point d'appui, is in the material world, and so. But even just that. Faith shifting, we're making an exercise of faith shifting from faith in sex to faith in Krishna. Yeah, just to sum it up in a simple way. And so it's I think we are an interesting, beautiful community of people that are somewhere on this journey of faith shifting or putting one foot into the spiritual world, and the sages, they really have their point d'appui in the spiritual world, you could say. They're anchoring in the spiritual world, and because that's the case, they see Krishna everywhere and they carry him in his heart, and therefore their feet are purifying this world. And that is the goal. And the purport explains a bit more about also in the verse itself, the false pride, free from false pride. That's one of the prerequisites. I was very touched by the classes of Igor Prabhu, Bhakta Igor, a while back, who also was making this point about false pride, false ego, and the two motivating factors in life, false ego or love. And so shifting so those personalities, essentially they're acting out of love, not anymore. So hence here it's mentioned, free from false pride, live on this earth. So they're still on this earth, but their main place is in with Krishna. I'm just gonna keep on reading a bit now from the purport. If in the course of his travels the aspiring sage can begin to realize the Supreme Lord's lotus feet in the core of his heart, he will be released from the illusion of false ego and from the painful bondage of lust, envy and greed. And we know that verse, Trividam narakasya idam dvaram atmanam nashanam. I forget the rest. But that is the 3 gateways to hell. Release from the illusion of false ego, like we mentioned, is very connected from the painful experience of our bondage to lust, envy and greed. So I'm just repeating this sentence. If in the course of his travels the aspiring sage can begin to realize the Supreme Lord's lotus feet in the core of his heart, he will be released from the illusion of false ego and from the painful bondage of lust, envy and greed. Just like the ideals of how false ego is removed by understanding what's important, what's real, and then as a result, lust, envy and greed are lessened or removed. Though he may still go to places of pilgrimage to bathe away his sins, the now purified sage has the power to sanctify others with the water that washes his feet and with the realized instructions he imparts. So that's what we are recommended to do at the holy places, is to not simply bathe, but also to discuss and hear instructions from realized sages. And if we can, drink the water that washes their feet. Such a sage is described in the Mundaka Upanishad as Vidyate Hridaya Grantis Chidyante Sarvasamshayaha Kshiyante Chasya Karmani Tasmin Drishte Paravare. The knot in the heart is pierced, all misgivings are cut to pieces, and the chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the Supreme Lord everywhere within all superior and inferior beings. That was nicely depicted in this Prahlad Nrsingadev movie. The seeing Krishna everywhere in all superior and inferior beings, and seeing the Supreme Lord everywhere. To sages who have reached this stage, the Mundaka Upanishad thus pays homage. Namah Paramarshibhya, Namah Paramarshibhya. Obeisances to the topmost sages, obeisances to the topmost sages. Putting aside the affectionate company of wives, children, friends, and followers, saintly Vaishnavas travel to the holy dhamas where the Supreme Lord's worship can be most successfully prosecuted. Places such as Vrindavan, Mayapur, and Jagannath Puri, or anywhere else where sincere devotees of Lord Vishnu congregate. Even those Vaishnavas who have not taken sannyas and still live at home or in their guru's ashram, but who have once tasted just a drop of the sublime pleasure of devotional service, will also have little inclination to meditate on the pleasures of a materialistic family life, which robs a person of his discretion, determination, sobriety, tolerance, and peace of mind. So this is quite specific. Those qualities, they come from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's purport on this verse, as far as I could tell. And here they're mentioning different ashrams, even those Vaishnavas who have not taken sannyas, live at home, grihastas or gurus, ashram, brahmacharis, brahmacharinis, but who have once tasted just a drop of the sublime pleasure of devotional service, will also have little inclination to meditate on the pleasure of materialist family life. So yes, we're losing faith in the pleasures of materialistic family life. I must admit, I am seeing this in reality, like the idea of being a father is a very strong illusion. Prahlad Maharaj in the movie yesterday was saying, look, you're my father for one life only. Lord Hari has been my father for so many lives. And so the illusion from family life is thick and strong in my experience, because the identifying, like the person who hurts my child is my enemy, and the person who's kind to my child, you know what I mean? Like, as they say, you want to get to the heart of somebody, then you compliment their child or their dog or their so yes, this starts this family life, the affectionate company of wives, children, friends, followers. Putting aside that, of course, yes, it's the meditating on the pleasures of these things, and I think that's another thing we get from associating with devotees in here, is that those things may be good for our next step into spiritual life, to be the role of a father, being that already puts your selfishness a little bit less. You have to put a little bit yourself to the side, or things like that. Could be the next steps for a person. But to meditate on and have faith in that. That's the source of my pleasure. That the bigger car, the bigger house, the more or happier children, or beautiful wife, these types of things, husband. They have the faith in that as a source of happiness is what coming here and reading these verses diminishes, because we're like, oh, that's not permanent, that's not going to last, and therefore not very valid or worthy of pursuing or meditating upon. And yes, it's also logical that if you do meditate on those things and absorb yourself in a false hope, mirage in the desert, then it robs you of your discretion, determination, sobriety, tolerance, peace of mind. When I was looking up those, I saw that three of these qualities are mentioned in the description of the mode of goodness in the Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, verse 33. So yes, some of these qualities associated with mode of goodness. So yes, when meditating on such pleasures, it's obviously materialistic pleasures. You're associating with lower mode. You're losing the qualities of mode of goodness and so forth. The last part of the purport, Srila Sridhar Swami prays, like in every verse basically. My dear Lord, when I will give up all sense gratification and engage incessantly in meditating upon you, and when will I take up residence in the hermitages of saintly devotees, free from false pride? Then I will become fully immersed in the inundation of nectar pouring from the devotees' lotus mouths as they chant sacred narrations about you. And then, O Lord Narahari, I'll never again have to take a material body. And we have this, it reminds me of Tavakatamritam Taptajivanam Kavibiriditam Kalmasapahan. Yes, join me. Shravana Mangalam Shrimadattatam Bhuvigrinantiye Bhuriga Janaha. This verse, similar to here, the churning of the nectar amongst devotees, which explains their seeking out these places and seeking out that type of association. Yes, and then it's easy. So it's a question of changing meditation, as we've seen. It's meditating on the pleasures of this world. Yet again, for me, something that's kind of undervalued or is what we meditate on and who we associate with. Association, as Igor explained it, is receiving. Association means receiving association, and so like watching a movie and that person's desires, they affect us with their desires, and so yes, that meditation is quite crucial. It's not very tangible, but shifting our meditation to the spiritual topics, I think is crucial. I wanted to say, the good news is when you come to Bhagavatam class, like I mentioned in the beginning, you're a winner if you're a loser in the material sense. And it's encouraging. Like people who come to the guided tour, we tell them, look, the good news is you're not gonna die, you, the soul. And so, we have a lot of reasons to be enthusiastic, and no reason to be down. Whether you're materially doing well or not, this is relevant. And finally, I had this Bhakti Swami poem when it came to related to speaking of what is important and not important. At some point I had it hanging on my wall. That's why it's A3 here. It's beautiful, the whole thing, but I'll just read the last bit. In these days, our society is having many problems and varieties of understandings. These things are very small in contrast to our real problem. So, I still feel it's relevant, This was back in 2005 or something like that. Or maybe a few years later, but I think we can still say our society is having many problems and varieties of understandings. And yeah, these things are very small in contrast to our real problem, which is sex attachment. This attachment is obfuscating our vision tremendously, making big problems seem small and small problems appear big. While we are debating, the demons are getting more and more positioned to attack our movement and the global community in general. Most of us will not become really serious until major catastrophes hit us directly in the face. But how can I talk when I now hear you saying to me with deep compassion but with sadness, "You cannot come with me, still you're possessing sex desire"? I think that's also very much how Prabhupada speaks, so this is his "Tomorrow I must meet Srila Prabhupada" prayer. Yeah. Today is the last day of my life. Tomorrow I must meet Srila Prabhupada. What will I say to him? What will he say to me? So that's how it goes on. He starts with saying, look, I will say to Srila Prabhupada, "I'm Ganesham Das, the one who distributed your sets of books to the academic communities." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but have you given up sex desire for me?" I will say, "I have never broken any of the regulative principles, and I have faithfully chanted over 16 rounds every single day since I joined the movement, never once missing." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but have you given up sex desire?" I will say, "I have maintained a program of fasting all day on every Ekadasi, normally from liquids and all foods for most of my life as a devotee." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but have you given up sex desire for me?" I'll say, "I have also maintained a program of eating mainly once a day for most of my life as a devotee." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but have you given up sex desire for me?" I'll say, I have for most of my devotional life maintained sleeping less than 6 hours each day." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but have you given up sex desire for me?" I'll say, "Srila Prabhupada, I have faithfully read all of your books, and I'm trying now to distribute them in many countries where there is neither paper nor printing presses available." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, my son, but have you given up sex desire?" I'll say, "I've persevered as your GBC member responsible for the largest number of countries in the world, i.e. 50, which happen to be the poorest in the world." Srila Prabhupada will say, "Very nice, but how about the sex desire?" I'll speak about my cultivating a few heads of state and a few diplomats. Srila Prabhupada will say, "Are you now free of sex desire?" I will give Srila Prabhupada a report on the temple construction and farm projects in a few different countries. Prabhupada will say, "This is very good, but how about sex desire?" Sorry, I'm going for it now. I'll give a report on the number of temples I have opened and the number of devotees and new disciples I've made. Then I'll notice Srila Prabhupada's voice becoming even more penetrating as he chastises me, just as he did the very last time I was with him before he left the planet. "This is all by Krishna's mercy, not ours. It is today that this chastisement has full meaning for me. You were telling me, Srila Prabhupada, that then, and even more so now, that I must give up the sex desire, subtle and gross. We must first of all realize that any achievements we have accomplished internally, externally, individually or collectively are simply by your mercy. Secondly, we are to understand that as long as we have such a devastating sex desire, all of our offerings to you are tinged, having various degrees of contamination. The disciple can never repay the spiritual master for what he has given. Also, we understand that one must be careful not to think that the Guru needs him or that he is doing something wonderful. Whatever we offer, it is so incomplete if we have not given up sex desire. You, dear Srila Prabhupada, preached to your last breath, completely selfless, for the benefit of your disciples and the world. Now we must also give everything we have to you. As today I die and tomorrow I have to meet you, it is today, right now, I must give you the greatest offering a disciple can give his Guru. Well, I still have a little more time. I must give up all remaining attachment to sex life, subtle and gross. I can understand that I have nothing really to give you, but if I can become totally free of all sex desire, then I can really become your puppet, so you can do with me as you like. Now I'm so much of an imperfect instrument." And that's where this paragraph comes about. Yes, the obfuscating this attachment of sex desire results in obfuscating our vision, making big problems seem small and small problems seem big. And then just to end the poem, yes, Prabhupada says to him, "You cannot come with me, still you're possessing sex desire. As you walk away, my pain is unbearable. As I reflect on the pain I have and I'm giving you by my imperfect state, my own pain increases that much more. I scream, crying out in anguish, 'Please forgive me, please help me, please don't leave me.' Then I remember I still have a few hours to surrender everything to you, as today I die and tomorrow I must meet you. I'm the insignificant beggar who is quickly running out of time, but by your mercy I have this last chance to make the greatest offering, to offer you myself in an uncontaminated state, free of all sex desire, so as to be a perfect instrument in your mission." I thought it was relevant to today's topic and verse. We have 3 minutes left if anyone would like to make some points.
When you mentioned that family life is, I don't remember the exact words, but it's quite negative for spiritual life, right? Are you referring to family life outside and inside spiritual life, or it's just materialistic?
I'm reading here, serving family life, dedicating himself. But like I said, in the Sanskrit and in other places, it's the meditation on finding joy in that family life as being the place, the source of satisfaction, happiness, joy. My understanding from this purport verse is understanding that discriminating what's important from unimportant. It's also that point to, maybe giving the expectations of to be satisfied, to find happiness in family life, and that meditation on that isn't very useful. That's what I'm gathering. I'm not directly answering your question, I think.
You do.
Hare Krishna. So I would say, like he's saying here in the purport, there is pleasure in household life, it's natural, but as devotees living in a holy place, as you're all doing here, this is a holy place of pilgrimage as well. Mm-hmm. People come from all over the world to come here. So those devotees who are staying here are very fortunate, because every day or regular they can engage in devotional service. So for householders, naturally there is attachment and affection in family life, and it should be there, it needs to be there, but at the same time there's this element of detachment as well. It's not we know, we've heard the wisdom that this, as you were saying, now I'm a father in this life to you, but Krishna's a father forever. Yeah. So as devotees, we're hearing this regularly from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita from the classes. So we have that good fortune of being in family life, but at the same time having that element of detachment and understanding that's not the be-all and end-all of everything. And we get the chance for a higher taste, the real pleasure which comes from devotional service, as he mentioned in here, in a nutshell.
Yes, I think this evening we have the Vanaprastha discussion in the temple room. Yeah. From the email, it wasn't clear?
I thought you said the yurt.
It was the yurt, but Thibaut responded to that message saying we're not ready, so we'll have it in the temple room. So tonight, I was just trying to... Yeah, 6 to 7 and everything is simple. So Jayadit Swami was speaking about Vanaprastha ashram, and the reason why I'm saying it, we have a Vanaprastha ashram, which means there's an end to that. So that understanding also is interesting, right? To have a Vanaprastha, you enter a relationship, a marriage for example, but then you also both are made aware of the fact that, yeah, it's limited. Not until death we part, maybe yes, but parting is happening. We're made aware of parting and of the that it's not our source. We cannot put our faith in it completely. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Dinada Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Visvambhara, Chaitanya Prabhu. Thank you very much for your presentation. If I can take the third perspective, someone who is just listening to the class, is not a practitioner, someone can get an understanding that we are a society of individuals who are having issue with the sex. It looks like everything ends up there. But it can also be challenged as much as can be challenged ideas of family life. On another side, my understanding is, you can tell me how do you see that. Bhagavatam is also very clear that the places where is the chanting holy name present, where the prasadam distribution is present, where the Bhagavatam Katha is present, there is no need to use. So we can take it in a very immature way, and as we are going to school, we drop the class and we say, I don't need to go to school. But ultimately we can also have perspective that everything can be utilized for the higher goal. And we can see an example of Srila Prabhupada. He was trying and trying and trying, and when he was mature enough, he just gave up on that and he moved forward. Looks like, that's my understanding, that too often we don't have proper, neither healthy way through, and based on our immaturity we fail, and then we see troubles that others are troubles of our life, like family members, but not. It's just we have to mature and develop our own consciousness. Then we can connect everything with Krishna, instead of trying to run away from this or that, but utilize in service for the higher good. So that's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes.
Please.
No, I appreciate your point. I guess I was just looking at this verse and trying to be like, okay, this is what it's saying, it's focusing on this point more. But yes, analyzing our society, and yeah, we have trouble from like it was nice you pointed out, like, look, we have to be, very present. Prabhupada mentioned, taking care of your child is taking care of the deity, compare it to that. And I think, yeah, I'm a proponent of Varnashram, and what is that? It's about the long term and about where are you at now and what's your next step, and that, yeah, sometimes we have taken a step ahead, we've gotten ahead of ourselves, but that's the slowest path it's slower than starting where you are at. If you take 2 steps ahead, because it looks better, then you end up struggling there. Then it's even harder to go back those 2 steps where you are actually at, because by now you've been putting up this show. And then, then you start then it's like embarrassing to make those 2 steps back. And sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, sometimes we stay stuck. In the end, the person that started with, look, this is where I'm at, this is who I am, and therefore my next best step is to be, like a civilized human being, and maybe a contributor to Varnashram in my place, then that will be the fastest method for an individual to make spiritual progress, rather than missing steps. And these things tell us the goal, the destination, like Bhakti Tirtha Swami is very, beautiful person, and so it's nice to know the destination, know where we want to go, know where to put our faith in, and not But then, yeah, it's a lot about where are you, who are you, and please start where you are, and otherwise you're only fooling yourself and others. But yeah, you're the one suffering most from that.
Very nice reading as well, meditating word. But from that, although he's putting himself down, you can see what was offering to Baba was so much. And when I hear that, I think, there you go.
Yes,
It's
yes.
very beautiful, and it's a very good meditation.
Yeah, it's setting the standard super high. Such a beautiful, yeah.
There is one, for me, it's stuck to mind. There is one interaction by one Indian gentleman with Srila Prabhupada, and that gentleman said, I have no sexual desire, I'm free. And then Prabhupada said, he has a problem because he doesn't have it. Something is wrong, so he's mentally off. It's indeed like that. So on that level, there is no one is free from that, but what we are going to do with it, that's another thing. Right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's not just the gross.
Absolutely.
It's not just gross, and you mentioned the subtle sex pleasure,
Yeah.
that comes from all sorts of things. It's not just the gross acts.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a good point. Yeah.
But there are people who are asexual. They don't have at all any kind of drive. So imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So then, yeah, such people. I could see that being a problem in our society. Initially, they may be like, "Wow, that's so wonderful. You must be super advanced." But the point is, something catches up to it, and it's probably the subtle this or that, or some yeah. Sometimes we have the spurt of enthusiasm in the beginning, but then it's about maintaining it, and then then it's different game, the long game. Any other points, comments?
I think when those statements were written about family life, they were not considering the family life within spiritual life, which I think is really, really healthy compared to in Kali Yuga being a sannyas, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that is one of the things that should not be done, although he took sannyas. Because we can see that people who are married and have their family and they're practicing Krishna consciousness is everything is much more balanced than artificially taking sannyas and going into renunciation. So when I read statements like that, I think maybe in other yugas, there was not this opportunity of being in a family, but also being practicing spiritually. So, yeah. And also I have another question in relation to, you read false pride, and I was wondering, so what is real pride then? If false pride is not good, so can real pride is okay, or is also one of the gateway to hell? Or
Okay, well, I think you wanted to comment on the first point. Maybe you want to comment on the first. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll remember the question.
Yeah.
And then
Just on that point. I think we learn a lot of lessons in family life, like you mentioned, being selfless. Not so selfish, not putting ourselves. Of course, we want to put Krishna in the center, spiritual master, but not putting ourselves in the center. So when you become in family life, you have to give a lot, and put somebody else before yourself. So we do learn so many lessons. We also learn a lot about ourselves when we have to live closely with other people and interact and serve. So it is a good lessons, and that's why when we see the Varnashram system, it's a gradual brahmachari life, then grihastha, vanaprastha.
Yeah, they're the foundation of society.
Yeah.
These healthy spiritual families of our society, they make up the majority, and if they go about it healthily, not neglecting it, and then having all kinds of problems from that, you've been around, most of you here, been around a long time to see all those consequences, and So I value the point you make, that we have to be mature about it and not be discouraged by this type of verse, and because that's our next step in our progress. And then about false pride, what comes to mind is was this motivation from this Igor point that false ego is a motivating factor, but real love is another motivating factor. So real pride, maybe Hanuman burning Lanka, anger or fighting, or it could be pride stemming from acting out of love. That also comes across as confident, I think, and even sometimes may be seen as having false ego, but it's not having false ego. It's like when Prabhupada responded to somebody about humility, and humility is being courageous for Krishna. that could look like real pride there. Humble doesn't mean low self-esteem, and that, like humble is to burn Lanka in one sense.
And I also like taking a pride in your service, trying to do it the best you can, not being proud of doing the service, but taking a pride in it, being proud of Srila Prabhupada and the wonderful gift he's given into the world. So that's, that gives us confidence, that gives us courage, as well as humility. So, pride in seeing Prabhupada being glorified, rather than like the false ego, not pride in identifying with the body. Oh, I'm this and I'm that. That's.
So not in relation to yourself, always in relation.
I think we have to watch pride in ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
Because even if we become proud, we can't be proud of being a devotee.
Yeah.
But it's more grateful than proud. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe you can say something. No.
Yeah. Proud. It's an interesting point about yourself and others, but I think in yourself you can be self-confident. You know what I mean? Like these devotees that are acting out of love, they come across as confident. That some may say, oh, this person's proud, proud about the. But when the motivation is right, then if you're standing up for the right cause, I was watching Jayadvaita Swami as a young man, debunking Ritvikism at the time, and it could have be seen as pride also, and I don't know, maybe there was things like that, but it was very courageous, very bold, and so I think you need that healthy self-relationship, not one of deprecation and all that, which we overget in our society. If we misunderstand the reciting of Trinadapi in the morning to beat ourselves, then we're missing the point.
I read it somewhere that actually we can be proud with Krishna, about Krishna, about devotees, that this Krishna is so wonderful, we are proud about it, not that you insecure about everything, but no, you're proud and you're sure about it, and it's also a sign of a humble devotee. He's very, very sure, and is giving all the credit to Krishna, to the spiritual master. So then this kind of pride is healthy. I mean, pride which is involving false ego, that I am the best, is one thing, but pride which is Krishna is the best, it's not harmful.
Yeah, we don't want to be the International Society for Insecure Devotees.
Yeah.
We want to be healthy, and I guess the ignorant people can be very proud, and the advanced devotees in one sense, and then we can be proud to be on this path, to be able to take our step and our role to be a good father, husband, mother, wife, etc.
It's quite simple, isn't it? It's quite a fine line, really. It's a fine line. Because even the rasa dance, so we're talking about when the gopis finally got to dance with Krishna and everything, and they think, oh, we're the most fortunate devotees in the whole universe. And then Krishna left. So we have to it is a fine line between that. So we have to be careful. And as you mentioned the word motivation, always check our motivation. Why am I doing this? What am I trying to get out of this? And we learn a lot about ourselves when we check our motivation. Hare Krishna. I have to go now.
Yeah, of course. It's been okay to go for 17 minutes now, so you're free to go.
It's a good example that Krishna left when they became proud.
Yeah.
So then become proud in the sense that they think that I'm very fortunate, that I mean, it goes together with putting somebody else. I'm the best, that I'm the best, Krishna is with me, and then the others are not so important, so that this is becoming proud. But before, like, just loving Krishna and then coming to him, there was nothing negative about it. He accepted it, but when it was like, I'm the best, Krishna left. So it was a different type of pride, I guess. I mean, that's just my...
At the end of his earthly pastimes, Srila Prabhupada was expressing remorse for being prideful in Vrindavan. So he was calling his god brothers and other Vaishnavas, asking for. Prabhupada was seeing himself as being prideful at a particular time when he was coming back to India, Vrindavan, and then at the end he was asking for forgiveness of his god brothers. So we can learn from that. But obviously that attitude of proudness is coming from mostly, and that's, I guess, most detrimental when we perceive ourselves better than others. That's a trouble. That's a parada. That's a tough one.
He behaved in a way which was because he wanted to maintain, he wanted to protect the devotees, but it was not selfish, but still, he kind of, he criticized them, but it was calculated. But at the same time, of course, you feel sorry for that. But sometimes it happens. You have to do something which is not according to the proper etiquette, but you do it for a higher reason. So it's not just morality, but it is service for Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Does Krishna ever become proud?
All the time.
Because then your party Krishna made of the same quality.
Yeah. He's the ultimate narcissist. Huh?
It's really funny.
Worship me only, love me only, then
Vrajadevi will be giving class. It will be called Krishna, the ultimate narcissist. You have that picture of Krishna looking at the floor, at himself, and falling in love, completely in love with himself.
Because isn't it, we read that we have the same qualities as God.
Yeah, he's the source of that.
It's natural that we become proud. So it's a little bit glitch in the natural state. Isn't it natural that I want that?
Yeah.
But it's a fine line between pride in a healthy way and pride in an unhealthy way. So pride is there. Pride is there. Krishna can think I'm the best. Krishna can think I'm the best. Krishna thinks I'm the best.
But you can be proud.
If you think I'm the best,
Yeah, you can be proud. You can look yourself yesterday and say, oh, what a mess I was, and I'm better. So you're proud because you're less.
Of improvement.
Yes. Yeah, always only comparing with yourself.
That's the real pride when you
Your journey, yes.
that's a good. You don't think now I'm the best.
that someone can be better than someone else on something, but it will be not so. Humility means you're aware of your strong and weak points, right? And you're aware of your limitations. That's the way I see it. But not artificially thinking, oh no, I do not know how to do anything. Right?
Yeah, I think we suffer from an epidemic of negativity, self-depreciation a bit, but yeah, Prabhupada was hoping to deal with full individuals. I think, maybe from upgrowing, there's this whole period from 0 to 5 years that a child forms its identity and is supposed to be basically spoiled according to that system. And then his identity is formed and it's solid. We may not have been raised that way, and then we doubt ourselves unnecessarily, and this type of things are easily handled by a healthy individual, but if you're not necessarily healthy, then you can take this to become harsh on yourself or
Maybe the answer can be in the disease we are having of comparing ourselves with others. It's such a competitive environment we are living, but if we are more personal and more individual, so everyone can offer something which is very unique, and you can be proud of that one, and that way you're safe from that disease of comparing yourself with others. That's the trouble.
so we were comparing ourselves with Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and then it was feeling discouraging.
But your fears, maybe the first thing is when you compare yourself with someone who's nearby you, your companion. But we are all unique. And that's really, that means to be personal. So you have the strength, they have strength, and you cultivate that.
Yeah. Well, you're a healthy,
Exactly. Not just
Dina Dayal's a healthy individual.
Krishna loses the fight, it's regular.
But sometimes when there's so many theories why you fall down from the spiritual world, right? So many theories, right? There are a few theories.
Yeah.
You're envious of Krishna, but then the envy doesn't enter in the spiritual world, or you are in the how is that river? Viraj river. You will never in the spiritual world. So many theories like that. But then I think maybe is a cause of we are made qualitatively identical to God, right? So that identity can crave for attention and for being at the center and for all that, I'm just speculating, because we often we are qualitatively identical with God, but not in quantity, right? That's what the philosophy is. So what does that mean exactly? That we have the same, is it that we have all the qualities but not in the quantity? But I cannot get that concept, because it feels like Krishna needs to be at the center, so the soul is normal that the soul wants to be at the center as well.
What are your thoughts, Dina?
This is just
Krishna is distinctive, as you know. He is having particular qualities which we are.
He's got some more qualities,
He's having at least, Vishnu Tattva and Shiva Tattva, so on that level. But at the same time, when I'm hearing you personally, I think we are too often we are harsh on ourselves. That's the problem. We see, and because we are harsh on ourselves, we are harsh on others. That's how we are not loving. And if we, in general, I can say most for myself in this case, if we would be able to cultivate different consciousness, it would be much easier. Otherwise, we are stuck in a particular, such a harsh world.
Yes.
And I
That's a
find
liberation.
yeah, and I find that harshness, that self-beating, drags you towards material identity, because if you're a jiva and you're made of the qualities of God, why do you have to beat you up constantly?
Yeah, if we're in the love business in the end of the day, right? And if we want to love someone else, well, how can you forgive or love someone else but not forgive and love yourself? Like, it's a very good point. Like, if you're broken in that sense, then good luck being in the love business and succeeding, when you're not, your starting point is kind of off or needs help or needs work.
Love is the only engine of survival. Quotation of.
You know, like if you read the Bhagavatam, you see that this attitude of being very low to another person is not, that started with Gaudiya Vaishnava when Chaitanya Prabhu appeared, and I think it's mainly because there was a lot of castes, there's a lot of superiority and this and that. But when you read the Bhagavatam, for example, when Radha is talking to Vyasadeva, which is one of our main gurus, so he's telling him that he's not satisfied. Then Narada tells him that you've done that, you're so accomplished. And he said, yes, you're right. He doesn't say, oh no, I'm warming there, I'm nothing, I'm very insignificant. So I just had the impression that, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. But reading the Bhagavatam, the sages, they never put themselves down. They're just like, but then in Gaudiya Vaishnava, I think maybe that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited this in Shastakam, and maybe there was so much emphasis on, don't be proud, you're just very low and this and that. I don't see that when we read the Bhagavatam, when the sages talk.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of things that we have in our society, in my opinion, that's not part of the Bhagavatam culture. I think we bring a Christian taboo around sex and other things. I think we bring in our broken internal selves with low self-esteem and whatnot, and then maybe also, I don't know if we want to blame the church for that one, but the self-beating tendencies. And and in that case, for me, this beautiful stuff is accessible to whole individuals in that level, healthy when it comes to self-love. And what you're saying, the culture of Bhagavatam is not of putting yourself down more than where your advancement allows, basically. I think this the higher advancement, the more you can healthily do that, see yourself in that place. But if you're not there, then you're doing that prematurely. Then it's really, it's really funny.
There is also an answer in a verse or comment you was reading today about the family life. It's also a cultural, huge difference. Commentaries which we are reading is based on Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in family life. But family life in India is very different than the family life in our Western countries. So in their society, father and mother, father is the guru, ultimate authority. You are attached to him, and then whatever they say, family members like to get married, be rich, successful, and stuff. So on that level, we are speaking about something which we are not aware in the Western world mostly. So the culture is very different. Did you think about that? Even for our Indian society, Indian families are so strong, like us.
Yeah, it's much serious, much more serious.
Condemning, like putting down family life is not only in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur times. You can see it in the Sanskrit, like it's a trap in the fifth canto. It's like.
Yeah, but I think he's also saying that it's a trap because it's different than what we're referring to. I think it's a real step up if we can manage to do that.
Not only that, I understand there is something higher. The problem is that what Vedas are speaking and promising and offering is just enjoyment and heavenly planet. So you manage your life just to reach some better sense of enjoyment. But spiritualists are not having that in their mind. They go along. So on that level, it's a huge difference. And we are not aware of it because we are not taking that into context. To who Vedas are speaking? General population who are looking towards karma kanda, just sense pleasure and enjoyment.
But do the Vedas talk about because how is the four stages of so moksha is the last one and
Dharma, Artha, Kama.
Kama, Artha.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Yeah.
Exactly. So the Vedas are not telling no family life. that they're giving you family life as a step, as a stage. That just by observation, since I'm here, this is what I see, since I'm in Israel, that problems come with this artificial enunciation, that when people are in family life, you know, everything is much more healthy, emotionally, physically, everything. And also the fact that this matter is the fact that you're concentrating on the welfare of your family and this and that, it takes you out of the ego.
That's not an issue in our society. We are having crippled families, traditional. We are broken. So we are not there. I think you said very nicely. We are 2-3 steps ahead. We are falling constantly because we didn't take care of the basics. And that's true. And because of that, then everything later comes in the wrong way. You cannot have renunciation.
Yeah.
Because you never had attachment.
But even Freud, that we often say that Freud is. He said that if you artificially suppress something, artificially, it's going to come out in a twisted, complete way. So that's why when I hear those statements, I wonder if it would be good to develop them, saying, oh, this refers to this or that. Like, for example, sometimes we hear women are 8 times, 9 times menstrual, and I'm like, if you go to science or to statistics, it's like all statistics. So it probably, or someone can explain, oh no, it refers to possession. Because it is true that you see a woman in the street that has 20 bags, you see a man that has nothing, practically just a little thing. So yes, when it comes to possessions, it's true, you have greed for possessing nice houses and that, but when it comes to the other side of the loss, it's like, absolutely not. So when people read that, it's like, oh, this doesn't really apply.
Chauvinistic culture,
I think
abusive culture.
it's so important to unpack it and to develop things, this means that, and
Yeah, I mean, I like the point that Dinadab was making, is that we're talking about two recipients, very different, where the family life is very stable, strong, present, healthy, or where that in itself is a mystery, a challenge, an unknown. I didn't know what you haven't gotten it from your parents, and so we're dealing with two different foundations, and so a lot of trouble can come from the fact of assuming that part is, you come from an okay place when you don't. Thank you for the discussion. So in the end,